Hey everybody, I gotta show you something. There's a man on Nextdoor by the name of Don, all lower cases, who is under the opinion that the renaming of East 14th Street in Oakland 30 years ago is part of a, what he calls, cumulative effect that has caused the now $93 million deficit that Oakland is facing today. I'm going to show you what he wrote, okay, right here. He says, he writes this to me, wasted money 30 years ago has a cumulative effect as we continue to waste money. It's like the man who blows his Friday paycheck every week, then lives off a credit card. He only makes minimum payments. I wrote back this. I said, Don, hi Don, show the cumulative effect of a one-time expenditure for a street renaming. Given that the cost was 30 years ago, one time, and comparatively nominal, even compared to other expenditures at the time, it's sorry to say, but completely baseless to make the claim. In other words, it would have to be an expenditure so large that it commands multi-year payments. That was not the case. If you're making the argument for emotional reasons, I can tell you that seldom leads to logical thinking. This is a math discussion. Show that the expenditure was multi-year and that either calculate the years we paid for it or find the expense data that shows we did. I'll make it easy for you. It's not there. And that's what really gets me about some otherwise I would think good people, I don't know, who write things on Nextdoor. He is upset, like many are, that Oakland is having this budget deficit problem that is born of many, many years in the 21st century of not making expenditures on economic development. We literally stopped doing that. Business retention, business attraction, making sure that the number of businesses increase rather than decrease. And during the pandemic, we didn't do it at all. In fact, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf had an idea, a project, a program, calling for a type of task force that would ostensibly plan for when we got out of the pandemic, as opposed to which I wrote back then, March of 2020, we should have done, or should do, which is use tax increment financing as part of a redevelopment effort and use part of that money to give to businesses to stay afloat. Subsidies because they're being asked to close. And over a period of time, the costs of remaining closed, not being able to take patrons, but having to do maintenance on the facility, pipes, walls, and then of course vandalism, was going to do what it did, mount up. And so when the businesses had to eventually reopen, they had to pick up the pieces there. They had to face with the giant crime that had rates that had developed, and the city provided zero help there either. So the city screwed up from two fronts. They did not have programs in place to make sure businesses remained solvent during the pandemic, and they did nothing to help businesses climb out of it. And so here we are. And we're wondering, there's a deficit. 14,000 people have left Oakland. Many thousand businesses have either left or closed. This has a negative impact on our ability to raise revenue. We get 15% from our property taxes. The normal city gets 30%. We're handicapped because of Prop 13 and the percentage take. Fine. But it's offset by the fact that the homes are really expensive. So, but we stopped going after big box retail. We stopped focusing on it. And now retail is relegated largely to the internet. We've done nothing to address that at all by having facilities that are places where people could want to entertain themselves, live this, live that. We've done nothing to address how the economy has changed in Oakland and around it and around the world. We've not done nothing to address the International Division of Labor. That causes it makes it harder to find jobs in Oakland or any place else because your competition is someone else running a company overseas. We've just existed. We built housing after housing after housing. And sure, the housing's available, but guess what? Because now the conditions are so awful, because Oakland's done nothing to improve them, no one wants to live in them. That's where we are at. That has nothing to do with the street name renaming 30 years ago. All right? And it's not where you can take that and compare it at all. It's not that was a one-time minuscule expenditure, Don. One time. All right. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsonline.com. Thanks.